We talked about this convergence of indicators. Holy moly. Look at this on Sheba. We have quite the party going on right here. Hey there. Welcome to your daily dose of elephant wisdom on February 22nd, 2022. So yes, that's Tuesday, 2/22/22. Hopefully 2 is your lucky number out there. All right, we're going to take a quick look at the market. We've had, a lot of movements here recently with big overall world news of the Ukraine and Russia, and that's affecting the markets as it always does. Every war will. You see oil threatening triple digits now, over $100 a barrel. I went to the gas pump yesterday for the first time in a while, and that was much higher than I remember. So, stuff is really moving and affecting us in real time, of course. Okay, we have Bitcoin here on the daily, and what we talked about in the last few days is when we felt this support fail, that we were going to test 38. And that yesterday, I believe I mentioned that we're going to test 37, which we did. And that has held, more or less there. So again, we talked about wicks a little bit yesterday, I believe. But so this would be kind of a bullish wick where you see the body, you see the longer part of the wick down below. And that just means it got bought up extremely quickly at these levels. So there was a lot of support right here in that 36 area, 36.5-ish. But yeah, it got all the way down to, what was that low? 36.350. So yeah, so if we look at that in context, though, with, our OBV and the RSI, we're still, there's room to run in a downwards direction here. We're having a nice response this morning, but I'm just not sure how long-lived it will be. I definitely don't trust it. After 37-ish, if we can't hold that right, then we're going to be down. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of room down here, right? I mean, have a little bit of support around 33. Maybe a smattering around 35. But again, this is a strange thing. A lot of the metrics, online metrics, let's say supply volume, liquidity, long-term holders, all super bullish. So all of those things are really set up. We just have to get in some sort of a macro environment where, things can run. But we'll talk about this in a little bit here, but we still are in let's go ahead and dial down first here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that 1-hour chart here. We can see how it responded off that low. Again, we mentioned we are down on the 36, mid 36s here, 36.5-ish. And nice 4 or 5 hour base there. And now we've risen back up. So we will see here. Let's go even a little deeper, 15-minute chart. And again, we're right on the 15-minute resistance right there. And again, this resistance marker isn't made for the 15-minute chart, but you can see it does have some value here, right? We look at here and you look at how things respond off that white baseline. It would be something that, you would have some value to it. So what would we be expecting here, right? So if I'm expecting, I'm not really trusting this market, and now I see this here, to me, this is a short opportunity. Again, I would have a very tight stop loss above it. But this would be where I would expect to bounce off this, as we've seen, let's say here previously, right? And then we drop back down. So I sure wouldn't be surprised if we go back and test this 37 again. or as you can see, we established this kind of lower base here. And why don't we just throw a quick line on her? And again, remember, a lot of charting, you throw up a lot of lines, and a lot of times I'll erase them pretty quickly. Let's say this line here, right? Not meaning a whole lot to me now, so I'm going to keep it just for fun. Sometimes when you extend it out in the future, it'll be surprisingly important. But right now, that's kind of what we're looking at. So I'm not super bullish on this move overall. I mean, I love to see it, of course. Let's take a look at our total. And let's go back to our daily and see what that looks like. We're kind of back in that sort of lower wedge area that we created the other day. And you can see we're right up around almost 1.7 trillion again. So not bad. Ethereum we've been looking at here lately. Again, kind of nice bounce and support. If that holds right, we could be drawing a line kind of up here on a diagonal, seeing if we can get a little bit of support there. But overall, again, it's really important to know in all these markets, until we're above this white baseline, it's no good. So, eventually it will pop back up. But if you ask me, are we in a declining or climbing or declining atmosphere? Right now we would say declining, right? And I would only have to look at the white line. So are we below it? Okay, it's not great. Are we above it? All right, well, things can happen above it, right? You see, when that's above it, that's when we get those pushes and those surges. And yesterday I did add this blue line, by the way, if you're curious, and that's the 200-day moving average, just a simple moving average, but that's overall fairly important. So again, when we're below both of those, white and the blue, it's going to be rough sledding here for a while. So let's take a look at ADA. We've talked about this. We talked about once it lost the 92, 94 cent. We are expecting that down. I am still expecting it to test down into the 70s. And the reason I do is we do have our weekly support popping up there. And you can see there our white line, and this is our 200-day. So if you look at ADA on the weekly here, right, as far as a long-term buy, if you believe in the project and its staying power, which I actually do. I know it's a very toxic discussion. There's people who love Cardano and people who hate it, think it's a scam and a ghost chain. But I kind of am a believer in it long term. So this would be one of the trades that you would think about now. We're on weekly here again. So weekly support. This is our 200 weekly, around 50 cents. Our weekly is around 75 cents. So I'm still looking for it to test that a little bit more. But this is a nice DCA type of opportunity. With the overall world market conditions, I would be hesitant to get into any long or short. If you are doing more leverage trading or, active longing and shorting, I would be trading on the 15-minute chart, on the 1-hour chart, and you would be getting in and out of positions very, very quickly. So anytime you go into a loss, cut that trade immediately and you're out of there. Don't mess around with it. Don't give it a chance to just nuke down for you. And if you're succeeding in your trade, if your trade is in profit, you move that stop loss up as fast as you can. Hopefully you get it back up to where you bought in at. Set that as your stop loss, and then that would be, theoretically you would be able to lose zero money at that point and only gain. And you'd also take your gainers pretty quickly. So I kind of like that 20% level. So if I'm up 20% in a trade, that's definitely when I'm thinking about taking profit. And I'm also thinking about moving my stop loss up a little bit, especially again in these conditions. So in these conditions, the daily chart, that gives us our overall and the weekly chart here trend. but you're not trading those right now, right? You're trading very low time frame, trying to catch these quick moves. But again, the biggest lesson that I can teach you is cut your losers, cut your losing trades ASAP, get out as fast as effing possible. It's just not worth it in this environment, right? We've seen things drop 20% in 20 minutes, so why screw around with it? So as soon as any trade starts going south, cut it. Any trade that does well, make sure you move up those stop losses quickly. So, all right, just a little elephant wisdom for you there. All right, so ADA again on the longer time frame, or the higher time frame, sorry, would be a buy, right? I would be looking again to DCA here. ADA on, well, shoot, even our daily really, not so much a buy. We're below indicators, right? And we just lost a crucial support level. So we're looking to test down a little bit lower. All right, Telcoin. Let's take a look at Tel. It's responded off the bottom of our channel. You can see a low, and I think we're going to find, and this will be interesting in a lot of cryptos, does that January 22nd low, which is the low on many coins, will that mark our short-term low here for this quarter? And we'll see. But a lot of coins will have that January 22nd low point, and we will see, what that happens. But again, a good DCA. It did respond pretty well off sort of our 5.005 line. And again, overall market. But again, this is what you do not want to see if we kind of zoom a little bit. Every indicator just smashing it down. So again, this is our 200-day simple moving. This is our elephant trinity here, our white baseline. And as mentioned before, when we're below that, it can go below and below and below. So got to be careful there. Here's my favorite right now of the day, and that is the Sandbox, which I know we've taken a look at lately. But I love how on the daily, our 200 held very nicely. We responded off it. We're below the white baseline, so as I keep saying, nothing good happens below the white baseline. This would almost be a short type situation here. But again, we've seen most of the things, right? Let's check, let's say Ethereum again. We're below the 200 baseline. Bitcoin, well below the 200-day baseline. Pretty much everything. So the Sandbox stands out in that it is not. Sheba, I believe, is now. And again, we talked about this convergence of indicators. Holy moly. Look at this on Sheba here. We have quite the party going on right here. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack. But the good thing is, if you do crack it, we should get a nice pump off it, like a little acceleration off that springboard, so to speak. But you can see, again, it's responded nicely here. I could do something like this, right, and feel okay about it, and see how that holds. So this is Sheba. We talked about the convergence of indicators. And then back to our Sandbox. We are holding here, so this is what you want to keep an eye on. If we would lose this 200, which right now is $2.93, almost $2.94. If we would lose that, then we're definitely shorting, we're getting out. But as long as we hold that, again, this is sort of a risk-reward dollar cost averaging situation, and we're hoping this holds again. But again, with the worldwide news, it's just so hard. Let's go back to Bitcoin. We'll wrap up there. And again, we see it holding. We're holding 38 for the moment. And again, real quick, last thing. I do want to sort of, we always do this a lot with the charts, and everything looks so extreme, these big moves. But let's go kind of smaller here. We'll go micro real quick. And let's just take a look at this just in an overall sense, and that is a horrific chart to look at. So let me just sort of go to almost any other chart. Yeah, this is what I was on earlier. And again, we're going to shrink it. And we are definitely in a bear phase, right? Obviously here. But if you look at our overall trends, we are still obviously popping up. And again, this is a daily, but this is 2020 here. But we are here. We have a peak, our second peak here. We can see that line is on an incline, right? We have a low here, corresponding low here, kind of to our upper high here, and that is on an incline as well. And obviously, you see our indicators were converging here again. But overall, we're still in the incline. We're still in a macro bull market. We're in a micro bear market right now because we're under the indicators. But I just want to make sure you're looking at the overall picture. It's still pretty bullish in general. Okay, that will do it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon. This is Mark signing off.